All right, and we are back, and we are joined by NFL Networks film guru, Mr. Ben Fennell. Welcome to the show, Ben. Appreciate you coming on.
Mr. Fennell, are you there?
Well, I think he's here.
Hold on one second.
His picture's still here.
Having maybe a technical difficulty on his side because we just were talking to him, folks.
That's okay.
Maybe go on another mini break?
Yep, we'll be right back. Well, actually, hold on a second here. I should probably give us some more different music here.
Yeah, they don't want to hear the same thing, Jay.
Yeah, they don't want to keep hearing the same stuff here, it's over and over again. I promise I'll get this better, but with Christmas and everything else going on, it has been a crazy weekend.
Over again.
Yes. All right, here we go. We'll be right back. We'll see if we can fix Ben.
I don't know how to get video here, to be honest with you.
Oh, you're good.
It's okay if you just want to do audio. That's okay, brother.
Yeah, I think audio is okay. I'm trying to click the video, and it keeps saying to allow permission.
Is anything popping up after that, like a default message asking for like allow or deny?
Yeah, you want to use your camera for this call, grant access to your camera by clicking the icon as shown above, then always allow.
Oh, I think that's a Skype. It's a Skype thing. They're wanting your permission because of your face and everything else.
All right, I just don't know where to give it permission. I'm looking like.
You're fine. We'll do audio. Audio's good.
It's no biggie.
All right, can you hear me okay at least?
Yep.
Yeah, you sound good.
We can hear you great.
All right, I guess that's the cream of the crop right there.
You're good, brother. We appreciate you just coming on.
All right, we got him. We've got audio with him. We were trying to figure out the video, but we're having a hard time. So we're just going to go with the audio here with Ben because you know what? It's his brain that we need, not his beautiful face that we need to see. So,
even though that hair is beautiful, I'm just saying. I've seen the profile picture. The hair is beautiful, Ben.
Look, Ben, I know that you're not like Ben, like you're not some unfamous person. But for anybody out there that's been living under a rock or hasn't been able to trip over their TV remote and accidentally turn on NFL Network, we would like you to introduce yourself with what we like to call brag time. We want you to introduce yourself to those people that for some reason don't know who the hell you are and build yourself up, pump yourself up, pat yourself on the back, tell everybody how great of a person you are and what you've been up to and how you got there.
Gotcha. Well, just a really quick update. If anyone's looked at my Twitter bio, it's pretty wordy. My business card's pretty long. I have a bunch of different jobs, all in football media, and it keeps things fresh throughout the year. So I work in the Eagles media department during the season. I also travel with ESPN College Football on the weekends, going out to games each weekend. I also write for The Athletic, breaking down the Packers film. Then when the season ends, I go over to NFL Network, and I do all the off-season coverage. So the Senior Bowl, the Combine, the Draft. Then in the summer, I'm working on my tour card and doing a lot of golfing and traveling, and it's all about balance in life. So a lot of work hard, play hard. And, that's kind of my life in a nutshell right there. It's a lot of football, but, life could be worse. It's kind of tough to follow for my family and my following to figure out how do I manage to juggle all these jobs and my time. But, it's kind of the life of the freelance world in football media. And I think I've been able to kind of piece everything together to fit in a nice little Rubik's Cube and keep things fresh and keep things interesting all throughout the year.
Do you sleep?
Yeah, I was going to ask. I've been watching you for years, and I still have tried to figure out if you're creepy. Not secretly cloned. Well, because look, there's no better person, let's be honest. There's really no better person out there in the professional world that is consistently putting out the film study that you do. And it's just, you do an amazing job. You do a great explanation for all of us lower IQ people to be able to understand what you're talking about. It's really nice, and we appreciate it. And we love the fact that you, have somehow managed to break yourself off like a worm and be in 17 different places at once, it feels like. But The world appreciates you, Mr. Fennell.
I position my life to do it like this. I don't have any kids. I don't have a wife. I don't have a dog to come home and feed. So, there's a lot of late hours at the office, and that's what I love to do. It's not work to me. When you do what you love, you never work in life. And, I've been fortunate to have some people take me under their wing. So I know it's all about giving back in life. And this game is complicated. This game is detailed. But it's not like it can't be learned and it can't be taught to somebody else. And I just like providing a layman's terms on what I'm seeing, and the details and the complexities of this game can be taught and can be communicated if you have the right people teaching you. And I just think it's such an interesting game. It's a fascinating game. The strategy, the detail, the complexity, and just talking about it. And I think a place like Twitter is such a valuable resource to have all these different minds in this think tank. And I know it can be a cesspool sometimes, but it's a really good resource used properly. And to be able to put a clip out there like I did today, and to be able to talk with a Hall of Fame offensive lineman or a Super Bowl winning offensive lineman or a guy that's played in the league for 10 years, I just think there's really good resources when used properly. And I like kind of contributing to that community and being one of the more positive and optimistic kind of voices on Twitter, because there's a lot of negativity, there's a lot of fan speak, there's a lot of emotion and irrational thinking, and that's what sports breeds, and that's what I also prey off of working in sports. So I like having that passion and that fandom, but different strokes for different folks and different conversations for different people. And the people that appreciate the content and the conversations that I'm providing, I like interacting with those types of people. And I think that's how we end up in conversations like the one we're in right now.
Absolutely. Of course. Absolutely. Couldn't have said it any better myself, man. It's all about the how and the why. And you are one of the people that does a great job in explaining those two things.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Yes. Yes. Given that, let's jump right into that since you brought it up. And let's start with some questions here. I got one here for you. So what are the fundamental differences you see in Aaron Rodgers' play from Mike McCarthy's offense to Matt LaFleur's offense this season?
Ooh, that's a good
and let's quickly add an extra wrinkle into that. What's different about Aaron Rodgers, and what's actually different about this offense? Because it's Mike McCarthy who was there for so long, and now we have this new 40-year-old, innovative, younger offensive mind. To the average fan, this offense isn't that different. The plays are the same. The scheme is fairly the same. What has Matt LaFleur done? He's added some more versatility in his personnel groupings, more multiple tight ends, adding the fullback. And I think all of that and the new voice in the room has gotten Aaron Rodgers to play just a little bit more within structure this year. I think he still has that propensity to play out of structure and to play greedy and want to hold on to the ball and maybe hold out for that big play like he blessed us with for the first 5-6 years of his career. But over the last 2 and 3 years of his career, those types of scramble drills and improvisation and out-of-structure plays haven't been happening as frequently, whether that's a combination of his age, his knee injuries, or maybe just not having that rapport with the receiving core like he did with the Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson, Jermichael Finley. That was a special group that won the Super Bowl and were a dominant team for a couple of years. So suddenly he has younger people around him in the last 2-3 years. Those type of out-of-structure plays have really dried up. So I like seeing him play a little bit more within structure, trust the system, get the ball out of his hands. I think the Packers are a top 5 team right now as far as his yards after catch. So that tells me he's getting the ball into other people's hands. And offense doesn't have to be so hard. Let the other guys do the dirty work. You have Devontae Adams. You have Aaron Jones. You have talented players. You have exciting players that can make explosive plays. And I think once Aaron Rodgers trusts the system, and as you get into the twilight of your career, nobody holds on to the ball into their late 30s and their 40s. You play with your mind. You play with your experience. And Aaron Rodgers has been through everything in this league. I want to see him slice up opposing defenses from the pocket, just like Brady does, just like Breeze does, just like Kurt Warner did late in his career, just like Peyton did late in his career. If you want to have success in the twilight of career, you play within structure because there's nothing you haven't seen, and you can slice up whatever a defense presents to you. So I think when Aaron Rodgers is at his best, he's playing within structure from the pocket and distributing the football.
Okay, well, going down that, we've had Twitter is going nuts with it, but it started with a Mr. Dominique Foxworth. I really think he's the one that started it with this whole idea that Rodgers is on the decline. I have fought back vehemently. Now, Ben, I am nowhere near the film breakdown guy you are. I'm not going to say that. But I absolutely love to murder quarterbacks because I am hard on them because they're so important. And my argument back is Aaron Rodgers isn't in the decline. Aaron Rodgers, over the 13 years of being with Mike McCarthy, particularly the last 5, his problem is he developed bad habits and a mistrust in the system and the things around him. And that is still carried over, and you see that continuing this year. And it was your film strip I used a couple of weeks ago of showing that the system has always got people open, but he's holding on to the ball, waiting for that double move, that up and out that's there, that slant and go that's there. And then he's missing his window to get rid of the ball early, on time, and to an open receiver, hoping that deep shot's there. And when it's not, when he comes back, now he's in trouble. The guys are covered, and the whole play has become an issue. So to me, it's bad habits and lazy fundamentals. That pick on Monday night was thrown off his back foot and kind of lollipopped in there, and he got baited by the corner. And that's the first time in years that I've seen him actually make a bad read and a bad throw to get for an interception. The last 4 before that were all off the receiver's hands. So am I way off here, or am I a lot closer than you think?
No, I think you're right. But the issue with this all is Aaron Rodgers has earned the right to play that style. He's blessed us with excellent play for years and years out of structure, improvisationally, out of the pocket, scramble drills, to the point he's developed almost immunity to actually evaluate his mechanics because he's blessed us with amazing off-platform back foot throws his entire career. And he's developed immunity to actually grade him like a regular quarterback because he's blessed us with out-of-structure plays, and we've come to expect that. So sometimes I like to put plays up there and say, you know what? Why did he hold the ball here? This was the play design. This was the coverage. This was the progression. This is where the ball should go. Why does the ball not go here on time, in structure, like it should? And I think that's the kind of Aaron Rodgers that the average fan doesn't poke and prod, and that we just sit there and say, that's Aaron. That's what he does. He runs around and makes magic. Well, he's 36 years old, coming off a pretty major knee injury. That's not how you have success in the twilight of your career. Yes, young in your career, you want to run around and extend some plays and you be fleet of foot. Okay, but the second that starts to dry up, I'm going to start looking at, why are you holding the ball? Why are you extending it? If there was an answer to the defense here. And I like to always pose that one kind of scenario that, hey, if it's 3rd and 5 and it's slant flat, and let's just make the scenario, every defender falls down. He doesn't throw the ball. He runs around for 6 yards and picks up a first down. Does he get a positive grade on that play because he got 6 yards on 3rd and 5 and got a first down? Absolutely not. Your job is to execute play within structure that you worked on all week, all summer, all spring. You need to make the right read, the right decision. And I like always kind of posing that query or that play I put up a couple weeks ago. If he stepped up in the pocket and ran for 20 yards on that play, he gets a negative. There were receivers open within structure, within the design of the play, and it's his job as the quarterback to execute the play.
Thank you. See, now I don't feel so bad. That was, I mean, you said it much more eloquently than I can, but thank you. Yes. All right, well, I'm going to get right up.
I put up on Twitter last year, a bunch of throws in the flat that he threw at the shoes of receivers because they're all off his back foot. Yep. And I just raised the question, when we look back on this season, on 2018, what's our excuse for Aaron Rodgers going to be? And I'm not in that quarterback room. I don't know how hard he's coached. I don't know his coachability. I don't know if it's a big kumbaya and it's, everybody just kind of praising each other, or he's actually being coached hard. And that's the kind of big anomaly about Aaron Rodgers is, what is his response to coaching? I know he looks at the game very hard. He's very hard on himself. But every week you start to see those flashes of old Aaron Rodgers again and say, you know what? Who is grading this guy? Who is coaching this guy? And is he responding to the coaching?
Wow. Well said. Well said. Thank
agreed.
you very much for that. I've been trying to pound the table for that, and I'm glad that I'm not a crazy person just screaming at the mic week in and week out. All right, well, we'll move on to the next one. Over the last 3 weeks, the defense has taken another step in not just stopping the run, but rushing the passer. What jumps out on film to you that's made the difference in how this defense has performed?
Well, a couple of things. I think the beginning of the year was a bit of a revolving door on defense. You had Raven Green injury in week 1. You're trying to work in a rookie and Darnell Savage into the system. You didn't have Ibrahim Campbell back yet. You're trying to work in, Chandon Sullivan and Will Redmond. So I think just having the consistency of personnel has been big over the past couple of weeks, and that you have the same bodies healthy on defense. And I think the continuity is really important in a scheme like Mike Pettine's. The other two things I would point to are, first of all, Darius Smith is playing at an all-pro level. He's as disruptive and productive as any defensive lineman in the NFL, whether that's Chandler Jones with 19 sacks, Nick Bosa, Aaron Donald, Fletcher Cox, whoever you want to put up there, Darius Smith is just as disruptive and productive as any of them. And I like what Mike Pettine has been doing the past 3 and 4 weeks, and that's moving Darius Smith around even more so. We know he plays outside. He'll slide inside on third down, but even on first and second down now, he's standing up over the A-gaps and over the center. And I just love Pettine with his attacking approach. And there's a lot of defenses that want to react to offenses. And I love when defenses are the aggressor and say, you know what? We're coming after you. You have to deal with us. We're not going to react to what you give us. And I just like seeing Darius Smith and crashing that A-gap on first and second down. That's an attacking philosophy, and that's a dictating philosophy that we really haven't seen from Dom Capers' regime or even Mike Pettine last year. He had to wait until he got into third and medium, third and long to have the right situation to be aggressive. This year, they're not waiting. They're taking it to opposing offenses on first and second down, and obviously the ability to stop the run first and foremost allows you that flexibility. In the past couple of weeks, their ability to stop the run in sub packages, in nickel, in dime, with extra defensive backs on the field, that's everything. If you could stop the run while being smaller and more athletic and faster, wow, you're going to be an absolute nightmare for opposing offenses to deal with.
Well, not only is it Darius Smith, I mean, Kenny Clark these past 3 or 4 games, Ben, has come back with a resurgence that we've finally seen him healthy, because he was hurt in the beginning of the year. We saw that, but now it's like Kenny Clark from last year has come back to life.
Yeah, no question. He's a really strong player. He's so young, too. It's crazy. He's in his 4th year being 23 years old.
24 years old. Yeah, 24. He just turned 24.
This defense and this team, there are so many guys that are fun to root for. There's good people on and off the field. Darius Smith is a good guy. Kenny Clark's a good person. Jair Alexander's a guy you want to rally behind. I just love the fact that there's guys performing well. They're good people in the locker room. They're good people as human beings off the field. I think when you start to get that formula and that recipe in the locker room, that's contagious. And I think the players feed off it. The organization feeds off it. And I just feel it kind of rippling through the fan base as well. So this team is fun to root for.
Well, to the defense again, Maurice Jones-Drew brought up something I just wanted to talk about. He said Darius Smith brought a lot of that bully ball he learned from Terrell Suggs in Baltimore to Green Bay, and it's like it's that front seven has just adopted that mindset, and it's just taken over. Like you said, it's contagious.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that, and obviously his addition and Preston Smith and their intensity and their aggression on the defensive line is what they needed. And, yeah, we can argue and pick semantics. I probably would have kept Clay Matthews and got rid of Kyler Fackrell. That's just me. I would have kept Randall Cobb and got rid of Jimmy Graham. That's just me. We can all, kind of argue those semantics of things, but having those 2 free agents in that defensive locker room is obviously contagious, and everybody's feeding off that aggressive and physical style.
Well, I've said it this, and I want your professional opinion on this. When I watched Darius Smith over the last 2 weeks especially, I have seen him play every position on the front seven, including both the Sam and Mike linebackers standing up, middle linebacker, and beat all 5 offensive linemen. And the way he's emotionally invested and the way he leads this team, I have said it over and over again, we have found our next Charles Woodson. And I'm not talking about their overall career, but what they meant to the heart and soul. And just, Charles was a joker. He could play so many positions, and it made up for a lot of deficiencies and holes because he was able to go fill it in whatever defense to keep things in the structure. I think what I see on film, Ben, is yes, those other guys have been solidified, but the way that Za'Darius is moving around and just being disruptive from everywhere reminds me so much of what Charles Woodson did in that 2010 championship run for this defense, lining up all over the place to where the hell is 21 at? And I think this year you better find out where 55 is at and hope to God that he's not going to ruin your play. Because I don't think chipping him and double teaming him, as we've seen, is enough. It's just we better get the ball out or change our play to get rid of the ball or run away from him. So to me, I think they have replaced that overall leadership and that guy that can really wreak havoc across the front seven that they've been missing since they cut Charles Woodson in 2014.
Yeah, I mean, his versatility is absolutely invaluable, and just being able to line him up and down the line, stand up, retech, things like that. And we're in late December right now, sitting at 12-3, and it sure feels like his signing was just as impactful as Charles Woodson, and just as impactful as Reggie White, two of the more notorious free agent signings in the history of the Packers. In the previous two generated Super Bowls. So hopefully that formula kind of comes to fruition. But the issue with Za'Darius Smith is Charles Woodson was a Heisman Trophy winner. Charles Woodson was a first-round pick. He came over with a reputation. I'm not sure Za'Darius Smith necessarily came over with that reputation. I think he had to earn it. And when I talked to Lane Taylor at the Offensive Line Summit in the summer, I kept asking him about the new O-line coach and the scheme, and he just mentioning, dude, I didn't really know who Za'Darius Smith was. This guy is ruining plays in practice. He is ruining one-on-ones. Like, he's almost like one of those guys that's so dominant on the practice field, it's not productive. And I didn't really see that from Za'Darius Smith in Baltimore. I thought he was going to be a good player, a nice chess piece to move around. I did not see this level of dominance. And I think that's just kind of the opportunity he's gotten to play a full role. He was a bit of a rotational player in Baltimore for the last 3-4 years. So giving him the opportunity to play a full game and take on a full workload, I think he's really embraced that as well.
Well, I mean, Za'Darius is also unplannable for offensive coordinators because
100%. That's a great point.
You don't know where he's going or where he's coming from, so you can't game plan, okay, first quarter you're going to do this, second quarter you're going to do this. Because, I mean, he can switch it up, especially with Pettin saying, hey, slide over 2 positions for the next couple plays and see what happens. And, I mean, the way he shoots the A-gap, the way he comes off the edge, and sometimes I watched him do it in Minnesota. He did a delayed blitz, and he still almost got to Kirk Cousins. So he's unplannable for offensive coordinators. That's the word I use, is unplannable.
And one of the things I love about him is, and when I watch all these college guys for the draft, I hate college players that just run around tackles because you can't win with just speed in the NFL. You have to be technical. You have to have a good first step. You have to use your hands in combination with your footwork and your get off and your ability to bend. Za'Darius Smith does not win with any God-given abilities. He doesn't just run around players. He beats you with deliberate hand usage, counter moves, get off, and an absolute tenacious physical style. And I love that style of player because that wins more consistently than pure athleticism.
Oh, I will tell you this. When I watch him, there was a particular play they highlighted on Monday night. I was 10 years as an amateur MMA fighter, Ben. And so when I watch offensive and defensive linemen and rushers, I'm looking at hand fighting. It's something, I was a Muay Thai guy, jiu-jitsu. Hands are real big there. He is so amazing and so quick with his hands and so powerful. He can use things like he does the inside-outside hand swap. And then as he's doing that, he frees his hands up. He literally slaps the tackle on the outside of the shoulder and just stops him. I don't think people realize the type of technique, speed, and power that takes to stop a 300-plus pound offensive tackle on the move with one arm. That is amazing. And people that I don't think have appreciation for that, I don't think get as giddy as I do when I see stuff like that.
He's Green Bay's Ip Man. That's who he is.
Yes, it makes me cry in a happy way when I see things like that, because like you said, that's not God-given talent. That is somebody putting in hours and hours of work to get those techniques and that type of speed down. You can be the most athletically gifted guy, and you'll never be able to do that because you don't practice it enough. That is a technique that you have to learn and practice.
No question. I always note speed rushers in college that don't use their hands, and I always look over to my coworker. See this speed rush for a sack, no hands? What's going to happen in the NFL? He's going to get punched in the side of the head on this play. And I just love guys that are more technical, use their hands, are deliberate. And I don't say this lightly. Zadarius Smith is everything we thought Jadeveon Clowney was going to be in the NFL right now. Versatile, explosive, mean, nasty, winning up and down the line. This is what they thought Clowney would be in year 5 or year 4 or whatever he is. That's Zadarius Smith right now, and I'm just blown away with his play in 2019.
Wow. Well, in your opinion, what does this offense and defense need to do to not just compete with, but beat teams like the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Saints in the playoffs, the other heavy hitters along with Green Bay, but just beat them, not just compete?
That's a really good question. Obviously, we got to look at ourselves first and foremost. There's been a number of games with early turnovers, early hijinks, and I don't think these teams are the teams you want to play from behind on. So I think getting off to a good start and not necessarily getting ahead, but not putting yourself in a hole. That San Francisco game, turning the ball over on the 5th play and them scoring right away and never looking back, you're in a hole right away. And in the Minnesota game, Aaron Jones fumbling on the 3rd play of the game or whatever, that was a huge defensive stand to hold them to a field goal and just to kind of not bury yourself and let that crowd get back into it. You cannot go down that road with a team like San Francisco or New Orleans. And I just think we need to prevent the big plays from those offenses. Make them work for points. Don't give them short fields of turnovers. Make them go 10, 12 plays, 75 yards for points. Don't give up the cheap plays, the ones over the top. And I think if you slow burn the opposing offenses, you're going to give yourself a chance. And this Packers team is 7-1 in one-score games. They've won ugly. They've won big. And I just think they need to hang around. And as long as they can kind of stay in the game and not get into any big holes in the first quarter, the first half, I think they have a fighter's chance because they have an opportunistic defense. They're going to get some plays on the quarterback. They're going to try to get their hands on some balls. And Aaron Rodgers is never going to go away. So I think just making sure you don't get into that hole to start games is going to be a huge, huge test, in that divisional and conference championship rounds. Hopefully we make it.
Well, I mean, Jay and I have brought this up before as a angle for LaFleur. I mean, you run your offense, like you just said, you stay within the reach, even if you're down, to come back with one-score games. But he also has that in his back pocket where he can just say, okay, I have the assassin Aaron Rodgers. Go kill it. Like, I mean, that right there, it's just an extra card most coaches don't have.
How we've gotten in some trouble with Aaron Rodgers, where you throw him the keys to the house and say, go win us some games, go get us some points. And I think we're suddenly realizing Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to be the superhero anymore. There's a couple other capes in that huddle, and I think he can allow some other guys to shine. And this is the most humble I've seen Aaron Rodgers in realizing we got to get Aaron Jones the ball. And he knows it, and LaFleur knows it, and it's just great to see 19 touchdowns, and now the rest of the country knows it. Aaron Jones is a problem, and I think the more problems you put in that huddle with Aaron Rodgers is going to open Aaron Rodgers' eyes up to realize I don't have to do it all.
Well, you know what? I want to go on one more side. Obviously, knowing you break down film, I want to hop on the analysis side a little bit, more of like the NFL fan side, and from what you see, does Lazard start looking more like a wide receiver too? He does to me. I just want to see if you see it with each week in and out. He seems to be like gaining trust more and more with Rodgers, and he's that wide receiver too that no one really expected.
All right, so these conversations are always really tough, and if you guys have been in tune with the Philadelphia Eagles the past 3-4 years, we've had receiver issues. And there's always that fifth receiver right on the fringe of the practice squad that shows you a little something and the fan base is pounding the table that
Jeff Janis for the Packers.
And that's what's going on with Greg Ward right now with the Philadelphia Eagles. He was on the practice squad. He's playing really well in the slot. The same thing happened 2 or 3 years ago with Rasheed Bailey, happened the year before that with Paul Turner. And that's what it feels like with this Packers team, that I think Allen Lazard on every team in the NFL is a 4th or a 5th receiver. This receiving core has talent issues, and there's no secret about it. So when you start looking at the collective group and you're trying to find some production and that 5th or 6th receiver shows you something, that doesn't necessarily make him a wide receiver 2 on an NFL offense. I think what Allen Lazard is doing is incredibly productive and quality play for a 4th and 5th receiver on the back end of a roster. He's always going to be that guy. And that's okay. He's going to hang his hat with being a special teams player and just doing his job and blocking, catching the ball, maybe being that vertical threat. Now, the interesting thing with Allen Lazard is, does he have more talent to offer than we think? He was a really highly touted recruit coming out of high school. He went to Iowa State to appease his family lineage to the school. He could have gone to Notre Dame. He could have gone to Stanford. But he went to Iowa State because his dad went there and his brother or his uncle or something. And he's 6'5", 227. I kind of want to add 10, 15 pounds and just make him a move tight end. And when you look at his blocking ability and his ability to catch and special teams, it's not the craziest idea. But I think when you really have to evaluate these back-end receivers, when the collective group is pretty poor. I don't think Geronimo Allison is a 2 or a 3 receiver in an NFL run. I don't know what Valdez-Scantling can really provide for an NFL offense. If all he can do is run, I could throw a rock out my window right now and find a guy that can run for me. Everybody can run.
I can do that.
In the NFL. And I think it's just a big buyer beware when you have some exciting play on the back end of your roster. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be a mainstay as far as being a starter or an integral part of the offense or a team moving forward. But I think this is the quality play you need from the back-end roster guys to make a run and to be competitive into December and January.
Well, I mean, how would you feel about putting Ryan Grant, who we just picked up a couple weeks ago, and finally make him active? I mean, he knows LaFleur's offense. He's been in the practice now for the week and basically learning the offense with the guys he's playing with. So, I mean, why not give it a shot?
Yeah, that's a thought as well. But, you know, in the same breath, Kumarow's playing well. Lazard is playing well. In spot duty, Allison is surviving in the slot. And I think as long as Rodgers is trusting these players, which he seems to have some sort of trust with Allen Lazard, but not only trust in timing routes, he has trust on scramble drills.
Those slants were beautiful.
And he's kind of the mayor of that locker room. And if the mayor says he's my guy, I want him on my campaign, he gets what he wants. And I think he's always going to be the kind of gatekeeper for his skilled players and who he vouches for as far as the coaching staff. But I really want Allen Lazard on this team next year, the year after. But I still want him to be the 4th or 5th receiver in this room. I think you still need to upgrade talent around Devontae Adams. And this draft is going to be a perfect draft to add 1, 2, maybe 3 receivers to that room. But I want an Allen Lazard, and that's everything I want for my 4th or 5th receiver on my team.
Okay, quick side question. Who do you want for wide receiver if he's there for Green Bay late in the first?
Oh, man. I mean, we could talk all day about this. I'll take CeeDee Lamb. I'll take Gary Moody. I want Henry Ruggs so bad. Henry Ruggs
got excited.
4.25 in the summer for Alabama. This guy plays special teams. He blocks. If we get Devontae Smith, I'll take that guy too. What about Tylan Wallace at Oklahoma State? He tore his ACL. I'll take that guy. Laviska Shenault is an absolute terror. Jalen Reagor's a terror. I just want speed. Give me someone that runs 4.3, that wakes up in the morning and just runs. Give me one of those guys. Have someone that threatens defenses, threatens safeties. You have to worry about where he is every time he's on the field, like a Hollywood Brown type of player. Man, this draft is just loaded at receiver. I think someone's going to fall to the Packers in the end of the first round, second round, third round. It's a really deep draft at receiver.
Well, all right. Out of that rabbit.
You're basically looking for a Tyreek Hill, McCole Hardman
he wants
type.
a
You're not looking for that. Yeah, but you're not looking for but he's looking for the guy that can also be consistent down in and down out. You don't want the Tavon Austin to the Brandon Cooks.
I don't want any of these 6'4", 6'5" receivers. I don't want Colin Johnson out of Texas. I don't want Michael Pittman out of USC. I want a 6'1", 6'2" receiver that runs sub 4.4, that's a vertical threat, that catches the ball, that's twitchy, that gets himself open, that has yak ability, that is a tenacious attitude to block and special teams. If we could get Henry Ruggs, give me that guy.
That's Dave's heartthrob.
More or less, what about a guy like Stephon Diggs, basically?
Stephon Diggs? Yeah, we'll take a Stephon Diggs. There's a couple of Stephon Diggs in this draft, too. I'll take a KJ Hill out of Ohio State. You know, that's a lot like a Stephon Diggs type of player.
The deep passes are beautiful to him. Oh, my God. But you know what? We got to jump to defense. Packers fans, Ben, I've noticed, have pretty much sided on Blake Martinez. If he wants big money, they're okay letting him walk and trying to find a new inside linebacker through the draft. Do you see on the tape where he lacks in those big plays where maybe other inside linebackers that are more in the elite range that make those plays? Like, it doesn't seem like Blake has those impact plays like he has last year.
Well, the issue I have with Blake Martinez is he doesn't have any exceptional traits. He's not super physical. He's not super fleet of foot. He's not, a blazer with his foot speed, and he's not a big guy. He's not a great matchup tool in coverage, so you have to keep him free because he struggles to get off blocks, and even the ability to stay free, he can't make a lot of plays out to the numbers. So I just have an issue with a guy that doesn't have a physical tone. He can't get off blocks. He's not a super explosive player. And I think this is the issue you have with Blake Martinez in that he racks up 100 tackles. How many impact plays did this guy make? He never comes off the field. He makes a lot of tackles, but how many impactful
That's my
tackles?
point, yeah.
He's not generating turnovers. He's not punching the ball out. He's rarely getting into backfields and making tackles for loss. He's a sure tackler. But if you're not making the big plays and we have to keep you clean, I think we need to look for an upgrade. And if you've seen the play of like a Kenneth Murray at Oklahoma,
yes, my guy.
With a physical play style that can go from sideline to sideline in a heartbeat, man, that's a guy I would love to see roam behind Kenny Clark on that defense. A serious playmaker level.
He's built like the prototypical inside linebacker where he has the big broad chest and the shoulders, and then he's got the smaller waist and the legs. He's just built like an inside linebacker. He reminds me of a Tremaine Edmonds who just got drafted to Buffalo a couple years ago.
That's a great comp. He's slim-waisted. He's got huge python arms. He's not a guy that relies on momentum either with the tackle guys. He puts his cleats in the ground, hits you with his face, snaps his hip, and finishes you. And I love his play style. Now, he's a little bit of a liability in coverage. He's a guy that won't turn and run. He's kind of a sub-rusher or a QB spy on third downs. But that's okay. The Packers love to play nickel, dime. They have safeties to cover guys on third down.
Ibrahim Campbell,
player, that's exactly what I think can be a huge difference maker on a Packers defense. So when reflecting that back to Blake Martinez, a good player, a smart player, a sure tackler, but is he making enough impactful plays on that defense to really warrant him, being a cornerstone of the defense? And we're starting to see a Darnell Savage and Kenny Clark and Zadarius Smith and Jair Alexander. Is he that level of play of those guys and making the impactful plays on defense? This guy plays a lot. I just don't know if he's making enough of the big plays on a week-to-week basis.
How do you feel about Dylan Moses?
I like Dylan Moses a lot. I'm a little worried about the knee issue.
Yeah.
He came out of high school at IMG as an athlete. They didn't even know what they were going to make him at Alabama. So he's a kind of a ball of clay right now. He's a guy that might play off the edge at the next level. He could be a will linebacker for all I know. He's an exciting player, an explosive player, a guy that gets from A to B in a hurry. But I do have a little bit of an issue with the knee injury. Obviously, is a question mark. But if I had to guess, it's 2019. It's his first major injury. He'll be okay.
So wouldn't that be more of a weapon for Pettin because of the versatility he offers?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a bit of a more of a Dylan Moses is like an Oren Burks on steroids. He's a souped up version of Oren Burks. And I'm a little bit disappointed that this is kind of what Oren Burks has turned into.
Yeah, I was hyped up for him coming out.
Yeah, I was excited. I thought that was the new age linebacker, that safety turn linebacker, more of a coverage guy that can turn and run and make a lot of plays using his legs. But he obviously has an issue getting on the field and staying healthy. And when they have to go and get an Antonio Morrison off the street or B.J. Goodson off the street or trade for him or whatever they did, it just concerns me a little bit about his view in the locker room and how they're viewing his development.
Hey, you just mentioned a guy that I love as a guy we just traded for. B.J. Goodson has been more than serviceable. I love him because I watched him run down a running back, Mike Boone, on the backfield the other day and got on a catch and pushed him right out of bounds, stayed right with him. And if that was Martinez, he would have been 5 yards behind and probably let him get the first down. So it's just – I like the Goodson pickup. It's underrated, but it's not like impactful in the point of like Zadarius Smith, obviously. But he's still a really good coverage linebacker. I like him.
Listen, Goodson's limited, but he does what he does really well. And I could watch him taking on lead blocks of C.J. Ham last week. C.J. Ham's a good fullback for the Minnesota Vikings. Man, this was good old-fashioned snot bubble in football. These guys are just nailing each other. And that's what you need on this defense. And there's a reason why Antonio Morrison was on the team last year. There's a reason why B.J. Goodson's on the team this year. When they need to play teams that get heavy with multiple tight ends and fullbacks, you need a linebacker that will come downhill with an attitude. And that's what Morrison did last year, and that's what B.J. Goodson does. He's kind of a linear downhill run plugger, but that's his job. He knows that's his job. Not every opponent will call his number, or even he'll have a place in every game. But I think that's the advantage of Pettin and having these versatile pieces that on a week-to-week basis, he could change things up based on when he needs to.
So this next question is kind of silly, but I got to ask it. Me and Jay have been maybe thinking this is like a hidden theory type of thing. So are you a believer in this LaFleur offense, and maybe he's not showing its full hand until the playoffs, meaning maybe there's a couple things he wants to save, or compiling all the stuff that's been working into one, basically go use this for the playoffs playbook?
That's always a good question on whether they have an ace up their sleeve. But you have to remember, you had to get to the playoffs first. So
I know.
The first 8 to 10 weeks of the year, I don't think we have any interest in January and saying, hey, that played Aaron Jones that he dropped down the seam against the Lions, we'll break that back out in the divisional round and we'll sit on it for 10 weeks. I'm not sure that that's how coaches, really kind of think about their quality plays. Obviously, there are plays they want to come back to, and there are plays they're noting, whether they were successful, whether they just missed, or maybe it was something that they haven't called yet. So I think every coach is a little bit different, and every type of play will be a little bit different. You can't hold on to every good play or every, kind of wrinkle to generate an explosive play all the way to the playoffs. So I think there's obviously an inventory of what worked. There's an inventory of just missed. And I think they're going to obviously take note of all that and try to deploy the best approach for our opponent in the playoffs. But I don't know how much of a calculated decision there is to withhold any of the play or the offense through the regular season.
Were you as excited as I was when I saw Tyler Ervin catch a shovel pass in motion?
Yeah, I love Tyler Ervin. He's an explosive player out of San Jose State. I like seeing him on punt returns and just having that jet sweep action and the end around and the shovel pass stuff and just having that extra dimension of an explosive player on offense, which, let's just face it, the receiving core does not have that type of body right now. And having that, whether it's a running back or whatever you want to call them, I think that's a really cool wrinkle in the offense. And I love deploying, as you guys probably know, deploying our running backs vertically out of the backfield.
Yes.
And I am not going to be shocked when we see Tyler Ervin running a wheel route or maybe down the seam or even a little angle route or something out of the backfield, maybe this week, especially trying to preserve Aaron Jones.
He can be the Charkandrick West in the Reed offense, the way he was using that.
I like that.
Yep. Just speed, baby. But you know what, though, Ben? We love having you on. Thank you for coming on so much.
Oh, absolutely. I could
Yeah.
talk Packers all night, every week with you guys. It's just great to have people that are in tune with the team, following this team every week, and just being able to talk ball off the cuff here. I love being able to talk with guys like this.
Hey, look,
Yep.
I strive and have a dream, although I do not have the free life you are, to try to at least get a slice of
kids
pie.
and the dogs and all the other
I've
crutches.
got dogs, kids, wives, fires, and I live closer to Canada than I do to Dave up in the UP on an island. So my winter is 500 plus inches of snow and sub-zero temperatures most of the year that Alaskans would probably die if they had to live here. But I tell you what, I take about 27 pages of notes every week on every Packers game I watch. And so it's nice that somebody of your intelligence and hard work and somebody that's there recognizes that, we're not just dumb fans trying to talk football. It's very, very much appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's a lot of passion and there's a lot of irrational fandom that comes with this sport and football. And I get it. And, that's kind of why I'm in this business and why football is such a good career and makes a lot of money, because fans love it and fans are passionate about it. But every now and then you kind of need to temper your emotions and look at the game from a even-keeled perspective and calming your mood and just, having a conversation about stuff, not being emotional, and just being able to talk civilly with guys that understand the game. And, throughout all my jobs, I have access to, some good resources of stuff, through the Eagles, through ESPN, through NFL Network, having film systems and different stat sites, and being able to share that stuff. And, not everything I do and all the information means I'm sitting there for hours logging it. And I think I have some resources and, to be able to share that information and to give it to people that enjoy it and like talking about this game. I love that. And I think just giving back and having these conversations is what it's all about.
Ben, one last question.
Well,
do you think the Packers get #1 seed and Seattle tops San Fran?
I do think Seattle beats the 49ers this week, and the Packers are going to get the #1 overall seed. Now, if you asked me 3 weeks ago, did I think this Packers team was a Super Bowl contender 3 weeks ago, I would have said no. I think
Agreed.
3 weeks ago,
I would agree with you.
We were on the same trend.
8-8 team on most Sundays. They snuck out a bunch of games. They won ugly. They are 7-1 in one-score games. Not every year you're going to be able to pull out a 7-1 record in one-score games. Some Sundays they looked like a 500 team, but over the last 3 weeks they're starting to hit their stride. They're starting to get healthier, and they look as dominant as any NFL team in the league right now. If they get a first-round bye, especially that #1 seed, I'm a believer that this team can make a run and win the whole thing.
Oh, thank you.
I just got goosebumps.
This team has stars, and stars make the league. And you could ride your stars through December, through January, and to a Super Bowl. And when you looked at the fourth quarter on Monday night, all the stars were playing at a high level at the same exact time. Devontae, Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, Bakhtiari, Kenny Clark, Zadarius Smith, Jair Alexander, all playing at a top level at the same time. That was as good a performance I've seen from the Green Bay Packers in years. And if they play like that in January, look out.
God, Ben, I did honestly. I could have you and talk to you every day. Honest to God, you literally. There's so much I could learn from you, but you're just one of those guys where I wish I could sit down and just drink some beers and just talk to you every day. It'd be awesome.
In the future, we're going to do it. We're a straight hour and a half of just talking Ben Fennell football.
I would love it. I would love it, especially in the off season. We would love to have you on as many times as you can. Because look, there's not a better person, in my opinion, to come on and educate everybody, even just on the Packers, than you. Because you put in the time
out through those dog days of the spring and the summer when the content is a little bit lacking and there's no real football. That's when you really got to kind of fill in the gaps with some good analysis. So we'll talk all year long. I'm not worried about that.
Yes,
Woo!
I appreciate it.
I love it.
Awesome. We thank you very much. We are going to let you get out of here and back to your busy life, and so we can move on to our next segment, which is our matchup. We appreciate you very much, Ben. Why don't you tell everybody how to get a hold of you on social media. Again, if they've been living under a rock and don't know who you are, which would be crazy, but whatever.
Come out from that rock, you can follow me at Ben Fennell _NFL. That's FENNELL. You can follow my film breakdowns on The Athletic each week covering the Packers. I'm also going to be at the Citrus Bowl next week, Alabama, Michigan, doing little X's and O's during the broadcast. So give a watch there. And then all draft season, make sure you're watching NFL Network, the Combine, the Senior Bowl, the draft. I'm going to be helping out Daniel Jeremiah with all his research and video. So follow me on Twitter and follow along the way.
Thank you again,
yes.
Ben.
Thank you very much, Ben. And we will be in touch with you. We appreciate you. And it's been an honor, man. It's almost like one of my mini little dreams here to finally talk to you after years and years of learning from you via social media. So thanks again, bud. We'll be in touch.
Stay in touch, and let's keep an open dialogue and do this again soon.
Of course. Welcome on anytime, bud.
Of course.
Awesome. See you, boys.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
Have a good one. All right.
Hey,
we have Mr. Julious Porter waiting for us.
Yes, we do. And so we are going to take a small break quickly, and then we will be right back with Mr. Julious Porter. Are you freaking kidding me?
We just got Ben Fennell on the freaking show, and we just talked football with the NFL film analyst from NFL Network.
Oh, and he said we're great, and he wants to come back in the offseason anytime and talk with us because he likes us.
So, is it bad if I got a boner?
I've had one since he started talking.
I've been trying to mute every time I cough, brother.
No, you're fine. I got to find Julius here. Where the hell he is here. Come on, Julius. There you are.
Dude, having back-to-back guests on the same show is amazing.
Yeah.
There he is.
Look, it's Julius.
In it to win it.
In it to win it. Oh, I would expect nothing less from you, Julia.
Unlike the Lions.
All right, let's get it.
Win what?
Let's get on this. All right, we are back, and we are joined now by Mr. Julious Porter.
What's up, guys? Great to be back on.
Did I just hear a cat meow? Because it sure didn't sound like the Lions rep.
What's the Lions? What's that? Never heard of it.
He is in full hatred of his team right now, folks. So if he is a Lions fan, I promise. But
listen, guys,
he hates his team.
If you go back to the NFC North roundtables from this past season, and you just listen to me on each show and how I progress to my current state.
You mean regress? You mean regress to your current state? You started off telling us you were going to go 13-3, win the division, and maybe make the Super Bowl down to what are Lions?
Hey, I live a fast, hard life, baby. A fast, hard life.
Yeah, well,
hey, Julius, how's that hair? Well, before we get into it, how is your hair? You ain't cut your hair yet, have you?
It's starting to turn Honolulu silver, but I haven't cut it. No.
You boys and your long locks.
Hey, mine's getting down past my ears now, all right? It's just getting beautiful.
Dude, I'm not used to that because I saw this dude with a shaved head for literally like 4 years of my life. I can't picture him with hair.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, get right into this with Julius, man. This is your rolling rooster here. So you guys have at her. Let's break down this Lions-Packers Week 17 final matchup at Detroit. The Packers need to win to keep control of their side of the destiny to get the first round bye and hope the Seahawks do it. So let's start from there. Go ahead, Dave and Julius.
All right, Julius. I got something I mentioned on the show earlier that's bugging the hell out of me. You guys consider Kerryon Johnson your premier running back, right?
I would suppose.
Why in the blue hell would you guys bring him back off the IR to play him in the last week. I don't think he's going to have an effect on the game because of the other people around him in the offense right now. I just think it's more of player safety.
Well, you're right, David. There's no clear reason for them to do that. And the fact they are doing that just shows that they I don't know if they don't care or they're really idiots. Either way, it's just another fireable offense. But guess what? They're not getting fired. But it's really stupid.
It kills me.
Really stupid. I don't know if they think Bo Scarborough is just like a really great security blanket. But carry on. How about having both of them next year instead of just one? Because we're risking one who's made out of paper anyways.
Well, and it's not just carry on. It's Matt Stafford. How, like, this dude was playing with a broken back for the whole season. The Lions got fined for it. So that means obviously, like, I'm sorry, he's had a broken back since last season. It was documented. It didn't get fixed. So why in the hell was he still on the roster? I get it. You want to try and play for a championship just like every team does. But damn it, Julius, I was so pissed when I read that because you guys kept him on even the injury report saying, oh, yeah, Matt Stafford back. We know what he has. He had a fracture in his back. So why was he not on the IR 1 week after the injury report?
Well, the back injury he has is kind of a tricky one because it's actually is actually very minor in a healing process sort of way. It could fully heal in like a month or two, but it's extremely painful after games. And what happens is if you end up not resting it after you hurt it, and it's also a very re-injurable back injury because, like you said, he had the same one last season. And this is an injury. It's like little tiny bones in the bottom of your spine that if you break them, if you fracture them once, you could fracture them 1,000 times again. And so Stafford rest up over the offseason, obviously not well enough. He took some hits and he re-injured it. And instead of resting him when he re-injured the injury, which was earlier in the season, I think against Chicago. No. I take that back. It was against Green Bay. It was against you guys, the Packers. He re-injured that. He re-injured his back then. He didn't. We were still in the hunt, quote unquote. So him and the team officials decided to keep him on the field, and he got worse.
Just anything with a spine injury from your head all the way down to your tailbone. One wrong hit. And I get everyone says, oh, yeah, you don't need a back injury to end your career with one wrong hit. But the highly chances of getting hit with that injury could put Stafford in a wheelchair because it's already injured. It's a weak point. It's just like Peyton with his neck. How many neck surgeries did that guy get? How many back surgeries did Tony Romo get? He got hit in the preseason and got knocked out for the season. That's how serious these back injuries are, especially with your spine.
Very serious. And you're right. A lot of people are comparing Stafford's injury to Romo's at the early stages.
He needs to, and I'm not trying to say this to not face him, but dude, just as a player safety, Stafford, to me, needs to take a year off just to rest his back.
He won't.
I know he won't because he's a competitor. He has that fire in him. We've seen it 1,000 times. We watched him break his shoulder, come back in, throw a touchdown pass, and then come out and his shoulder's sitting there dislocated.
Definitely. And this is a thing. By the start of training camp, he's going to be feeling fine. And I don't think there's any chance that a 31-year-old Matthew Stafford who feels fine is going to sit out at the beginning of is going to take the year off over the injury that could, it could pop up again. Very well. It could pop up in the preseason, pop up week 1, pop up in the playoffs if we make it there. It could pop back up at one wrong hit to the right spot. And they said the hit that got him was the crown of the helmet to the bottom of the back on a perfectly legal quarterback pressure. It's so easy to have that happen again. But if he's feeling good before training camp, he's not going to sit out the year. So you just got to, one of those things that Lions fans got to pray for, kind of.
Well, it just sucks to see because, I mean, the more I learn about Stafford, especially off the field, the guy, I know I shared this with you, the guy and his wife found out that two boys in the area they live in just had their father pass away. So they're huge Lions fans. Their dad was a huge Lions fan. They went over to their house and celebrated Christmas with them. So that way they could have someone else to try and get their mind off. And it's such like a good guy off the field. And I hate playing him because the guy could have 5 interceptions in the first 3 quarters, come back in the fourth quarter, throw 4 touchdowns, and have the game within reach. So it's just, man, off the field, the guy is an MVP. Any day of the week off the field. He is one of the better humans in the league.
Oh, yeah, these are facts. These are known facts. And that video that started trending on Christmas, that was great. Him and his wife, Kelly, do that every Christmas. They surprise a family that recently went through a tragedy every Christmas for the last 6 years. And it's just one of those things that warm your heart. And yeah, he really is one of the good guys in the league. You're right.
Well, I mean, especially what he went through with his wife, Kelly, in this past offseason. It's especially us having wives, kids, it's just, it sends shockwaves through you emotionally as not just a fan, but a person. And you can feel what he's going through because you have that connection that he has with a person of your own. So it's just to hear what he went through and handling football and the injury. I have all the respect in the world for Matthew Stafford, man. And I'm a hater against him because he's a rival, but I will never disrespect him off the field. I will never do any of that because I'm not one of those fans where to wish injury on somebody or to celebrate an injury. Like,
yeah, I don't like that, man. I don't like that either. I hate fans who do that.
Dude, last week we found a freaking newspaper.
I don't want to be mean, but I do have to. We're trying to stay within a certain time limit here, and we are running a little long because we got so giddy talking to Ben Fennell. We ran a hell of a lot longer than we wanted to. So let's speed track this to get into as much of this actual game as we can and get on and off here, so we're not running too far over.
I'm sorry, Jay. I didn't mean to eat up a lot of time. God.
All right, Dave.
No, I'm not mad. I'm just trying to, do my job as a producer and keep us in structure. That's all. I mean, we're already going to run over. We're at an hour and 29 minutes and 50 seconds. So no matter what, we're running over 90 minutes today. But
well, Julius, I got a question. So LaFleur came out and said that they're treating this like a playoff game already because if we win, Packers get a bye. They're either 1 or 2. That's it. So
a lot at stake.
The Lions obviously want to come out and be that screw in the freaking and then the wrench and try to go ahead and derail the Packers' hopes of getting a bye seed. It is in Detroit, but the amount of people I've seen go on IR from your team, dude. I just watched Tavai go there. I just watched Christian Jones go there. I just watched one of your corners go there.
There's one guarantee that these last 4 games has told us about the Detroit Lions, and that they are no doubt tanking as best they can. If a player gets one little Nicky Tech injury, IR immediately. They threw Matthew Stafford on IR finally. And you know what? All this doesn't make sense because they playing carry on, right?
That's my point.
I don't know. Yeah. But we're tanking. We're tanking, bro. We're trying to play our worst players so we can lose every game, and it's working.
Did Marvin Jones go on IR or is he still playing?
Marvin Jones is on IR. He went on there 2 weeks ago.
So all you guys have is basically Kenny Galladay, Amendola, and Jordan Thomas.
Yeah, Kenny Galladay, Tracy Walker still playing, I think. Frank Ragnow. Our team is decimated. We're playing with a Mountain West defense.
Ooh. Good God, that's a reference.
We have Fresno State's defense right now.
You know what, though? I'm never going to predict a win and call it 100% guaranteed because it's a rival, for one.
That's true.
We just watched the Cardinals take down Seattle in Seattle.
To be fair, the players the Lions have been playing in their attempt to tank have played hard.
Yes, you could see it because they want to try and make the team next year.
They were leading Denver late last week. You know, they played pretty good the week before. You know, these young second and third stringers, some of them are veterans. They're playing hard. And, you know, football is a game of inches, so you never know. Make a mistake or two, Lions might fuck around and win. Lose Chase Young, and the Packers lose home field advantage. You never know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know if Detroit. I mean, I get they would want to see the Packers knocked out of the playoffs, but to lose out on a guy like Chase Young, Julius, that's a perennial edge rusher right there.
So
you're getting
bad. So I want the listen. I've been wishing and praying the Lions lose the last 3 weeks, and they've done so. I was like, please lose, and they lose. And then not only that, but the teams that are supposed to lose as well to help the Lions get to number 2 are also losing. It's perfect. It's perfect. So if we come out and beat Green Bay, I'll be highly surprised, and I feel highly stupefied that they would do that.
So you aren't feeling a David Blau upset?
If you guys let David Blau accomplish anything more than 175 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, and 1 fumble, then you failed as a defense. Your only threat is Kerryon Johnson going off on y'all, and just don't let that happen. I don't know just don't let it happen. Contain Kerryon, please. I'm asking the Packers to do that.
So okay, so what are your thoughts? I know you want your team to lose, but what are your thoughts after you saw that Monday Night Football game where you just saw the Packers from second quarter and on just come together as a team and looked as dangerous as they ever have?
You know what? I was impressed by the Packers' perseverance, and because
down 3 turnovers, mind you. I couldn't believe it happened that quick.
Many times this season, actually, you guys have found yourselves in predicaments to lose.
Yeah.
And you somehow find a way to win, and that's very different. So I will give LaFleur credit in that aspect before all else. And I was very impressed by your perseverance in that Minnesota Vikings game.
I mean, I get they were down Dalvin Cook and Alexander Mattison. But the thing is, I keep going back to is the Packers already beat the Vikings with Dalvin Cook on early in the season in week 2. That was my thing.
Well, look, Minnesota could end up facing Minnesota in the divisional round again. Or even in the conference championship, and Minnesota win a game or 2. You can end up seeing them again. So
I just don't see it because Minnesota can't beat a winning record team this year.
I was just about to say Minnesota has failed to prove that they can beat anybody of relevance. So they're not really a threat. And they were at home, and they pooped the bed. So I don't know what to say about the Vikings.
Yeah, but
I think they're the worst NFC playoff team, probably by far. So
you don't think Dallas or Philly is worse than
No, I think if they have to play Dallas or Philly, I'll take the Vikings over Dallas or Philly this year.
I would not take Dallas or Philly, both of them over the Vikings at this point.
Really?
First of all, and I'm gonna say this live on air, I wouldn't want to face Dallas in the playoffs at all.
You think they're going to get hot at the right time?
Now, I'm also going to say this. Out of all places I don't want to play in the playoffs is Lambeau Field.
Do you think Seattle getting Marshawn Lynch back, Robert Turbin, getting that same Super Bowl combo they've had for those 2 back-to-back Super Bowl appearances and 1 win, do you think they come out and beat San Francisco in Seattle this weekend?
I would be highly surprised if Marshawn Lynch is anything other than a decoy out of the backfield. Same with Turbin. I feel like when I last saw him in Oakland, Lynch was just okay, and he was kind of turning into a shell of himself. So I'm not really.
He didn't have the weapons around him compared to when he was in Seattle before, though.
It's true, and Seattle's O-line is a lot improved than it was. Carson had a real good season running behind them. But
he was close to having being one of the best backs.
But Dwayne Brown is gone. People are not underselling or not. They're underselling the fact that Dwayne Brown's gone now too. He ain't coming back even for the playoffs.
Yeah, that hurts a lot.
Marshawn's played with banged up O-lines and still produced. That's the thing.
Marshawn hasn't played a football game in a year, so I cannot be a
beast mode.
It'll be crazy if he came out first playoff game, 180 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Oh no, I'm talking about this weekend. I'm talking about Seattle over San Fran.
Oh, you're talking about week 17. My bad.
Yes.
It'd still be crazy if he came out and if Marshawn Lynch came out and had a Marshawn Lynch game. It will be one of the top stories of the NFL this season. Period. It'd be crazy. This dude ain't played in a year. He was on the streets.
Yeah, that is true. But I could see a guy like him doing it because I think running backs get beat up, but if they can take a year off and then come back and play a shortened type of season the way he is, I think he can be 85% of what we used to see, whereas I think you were getting about 55-60% when he was in Oakland.
Right.
I think a year off and familiarity with this team and not being able to, like the difference between him there now and when he left, there's offensive weapons on the outside you have to be aware of. Hollister is right, and Hollister is a good tight end. He's more than serviceable, control in the middle of the field. And guys, DK Metcalf has stepped up. Lockett is, although he's been kind of down on the down and outs lately, he has been, he's still a threat you have to pay attention to. So I think there's less of an ability just to concentrate and focus on Marshawn Lynch. And therefore, I think he can come in and at least give them better than, the average guy coming off the streets at this point in the season would be able to. But that all being said, we got to get back to the Lions game. And I want to know, Julius.
It's an idea.
I want to know, Julius, despite Facegate last time, do you feel like the Lions are going to come out with that same type of defensive energy? Or do you feel like the difference here isn't so much the Lions, it's that the Packers offense actually has found their identity and is actually executing it better now?
Probably a bit of both. Definitely Green Bay. You guys, I feel like you still got a few wrinkles going into the postseason, right? As a team, but they're still very threatening. Nobody is giving y'all credit. See, so y'all got like this underdog thing going on. Yeah. And I feel Aaron Rodgers thrives in that role because he's an underdog his whole life. He came out of high school. He was an underdog being recruited to Cal. In the draft, he got passed on all the way through the first round. Underdog. Nobody believed in him when he took over for Brett Favre. And he's just proved people wrong. So I feel like this is the perfect situation for Aaron Rodgers and y'all offense to thrive in going into the postseason. The Lions, you're going to get a bunch of second and third string energy playing for a job next season. Just don't make no mistakes, and y'all going to beat us.
I mean, Rodgers does have success in that Ford Field. I don't know what it is, but it's like
the game could literally be over in the first half if y'all do everything simply right.
I mean,
I don't think it helps that.
Go ahead, Jay.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think it helps the Lions that they still are they have to take care of business in order for everything to work out as far as what they can control to be able to have a shot at the number one seed. I think if this was a scenario where no matter what they did, that number one seed was gone, I think there would be we might not see some of these guys play a whole game or, you know what I mean? Like, I think the fact that they're still vying for home field advantage probably does tend for them to do exactly what you're saying. Get a big lead and be able to sit their guys down and get through the rest of the second half of the game.
Perfect scenario for Green Bay.
Right. Get up there, get up to 28-3, a 31-3 first half lead, and come out and, maybe have them play one series, opening up on offense, and then start pulling guys off the field, so that you're not getting that, you don't end up maybe with 2 weeks off completely, but you're not risking injury. Right.
You don't want
Who would
that.
you
That's
consider?
The worst case scenario. That's the worst case scenario for y'all against the Lions. Not that y'all lose, is that y'all lose Aaron Jones, y'all lose Aaron Rodgers, y'all lose one of y'all key defensive players. That is worst case scenario for the Packers.
Yeah, and that's my biggest fear is but I mean LaFleur coming out and saying, hey, this is a playoff game. I think he's going to have his players ready. They're not going to play 80 or 90%. They're going to play 100% because that's the way he's had this team rolling all season. It's not been, I mean, literally one of his phrases is on a T-shirt. It says all gas, no bleeping break. I can't swear on here, drop the F-bomb. So I'm saying bleeping. Doing that for Mr. Austin Fugelstad for VP of Marketing. So I had to give a little shout out there. But anyways, yeah, I mean, who would you consider your biggest threat for the Lions besides Kenny Galladay and Carrion? I want to hear who you maybe like a hidden player we might have to watch out for.
Ooh, that's hard. Offensively, I would probably say, I don't know, Logan Thomas.
Really, Logan?
Like he's a pretty
the former quarterback now turned tight end.
Yeah,
it's not a bad pick because he's had multi-touchdown games this year.
He is.
He's a very athletic guy.
Was healthy. He was an underrated target actually, a really good red zone threat. So you kind of got to watch out for him. And he's been getting a lot of playing time with Hockenson on the IR as well. Other than that, I mean, our receivers behind. Danny Amendola. Don't let him tread y'all in the slot. Running backs, other than Carrion, Ty Johnson, no. Yeah, it's a very short list. Logan Thomas, Danny Amendola, Bo Scarborough. There you go. That's all I can say. I don't know.
Okay, now here's a real legitimate question because I saw this. Do you think that what the Saints did via Twitter to David Blau is going to hurt him more than it's going to help him?
I missed that story. Explain it to me.
The Saints tweeted out that they would buy David Blau a brand new truck if he could lead the Lions to a victory over the Packers on Sunday so that they would have a chance at the number 1 or number 2 seed. My first thought was as much as that they think that's going to help them, that's probably done them the reverse because now you're going to get a guy excited that might make a throw or two that he probably wouldn't have made otherwise.
You're right.
Trying to earn himself a truck.
You're right. He's already unpolished as a passer, and his completion percentage is like around like 48. So, like, I don't know. He's made like $380,000 minimum this year. He can go buy him a nice truck, dually, nice V8 Hemi or something. He doesn't necessarily need a truck from a free truck like he's like a freaking like he's struggling on welfare or something. But maybe it get him excited, and he might, like you said, he might end up throwing a couple picks because he's like, oh, a truck. Well, I don't know. It flashes in his head when he snaps the ball.
So wouldn't the Packers defense be just as motivated though too because of the fact they get to see like, hey man, the Saints are really offering this dude a truck. Let's go ahead and make sure he doesn't get it. They see it too. They're on social media.
I just think it was bad for the Saints to do it. It was just, I think it was counterproductive to what they really want. If they wanted something to happen, they should have probably kept their mouth shut because they just gave everybody clickbait. That's all.
Some of these pro teams' Twitter handles are getting out of control.
Yes,
seriously,
they need to hire new personnel in that department because they're not being very smart with what they're tweeting.
This is what they do. They give one person called a social media specialist the reins to the Twitter account. So, like, the Saints Twitter account is ran by one guy.
Yeah,
one team official, right? And so that one guy, depending on his personality and opinion, could be a total troll, a total douche.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these handles are getting out of control.
Not gonna lie, I have trolled the Detroit Lions Twitter handle a couple times, calling them out on some BS.
The Lions Twitter handle is corny.
Yes.
We have a corny cornball behind our Twitter.
Okay.
All right,
awesome.
Julius. I gotta ask.
Yep.
Since we're going over, I gotta ask it. What? You know what? One side question. Which Aaron do you think shows up more in the Week 17? Is it Aaron Jones or Aaron Rodgers?
I would imagine it's Aaron Rodgers. Just how bad our secondary has been giving up air yards. But I could also see Aaron Jones slicing us up because we're not that much better against the run. So let me just say 1A, 1B. Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones.
It's the Aaron show.
I really tried to meant that to be a serious question, but I didn't mean to laugh. But you just came out and you're like, "Screw it, our defense is horrible."
It is. We're 400 yards shy of the worst yards allowed season in team history.
No, you're not.
Yes, we are.
Wow.
The only team that has been allowed more yards in Lions history are the infamous 0-16 2008 Lions.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious, bro. These are facts. As far as
and they spent a lot of money.
My God.
As far as yards given up to opposite teams, this has been the second worst
you're telling me
season of team history.
Martha Ford wants to keep around Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia, and they're almost closing out a record from a winless team in y'all's history.
We need new owners so bad. Before y'all wrap it up with me, right? I'm gonna tell y'all how Patricia and Bob Quinn kept their jobs, right? Martha Ford is an old little 94-year-old lady at the end of her life. She's so sweet and old and tiny and frail.
I feel like it's story time.
Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn come up with their little pouchy cheeks. Oh, Miss Ford, we lost Stafford early in the season. We've been dealing with so much injuries. Just give us one more year, please. And Martha Ford, like the grandmother or great-great-great-great-grandmother she is, pinches their cheeks and say, one more year, fellas. They came out with a letter saying all the expectations are for next season is to contend for the playoffs. That's what Martha Ford came out in the letter to the Lions tickets holders and said. We expect to be playoff contenders next season.
Why not Super Bowl contenders?
We've been trying to contend for the playoffs for 63 years.
That's the thing. Why is she like settling for mediocrity? Because to me, if you're
she
an
doesn't
organization, you want to go, we want to be Super Bowl contenders.
She's at the end of her billionaire life. She does not care about this team winning. She does not care about the average Joe fan out there like me, who's been suffering year after year because we're not billionaires and we actually give a damn.
Can I bring up a serious question though? It's kind of like mean at the same times. Do you wish maybe Martha Ford just happens to take one of those wrong icy falls and she can't operate the team anymore?
And guess what? If she takes one of those little icy falls, her 60-year-old daughter, Sheila Ford Hemp, will be the next owner of the Lions, and she won't be much better because the Fords they don't care about the Lions. They don't care about Lions fans. They care about making money for the Lions because they own them. That's all.
Well,
I'm sorry I had to go on that rant on y'all show.
We appreciate it. Julius, I work with a guy that is the king of rants. So that is nothing.
Yes, I am.
But anyways, final score, final prediction. Who's your MVP? Who wins?
Final score, I'm going to go with Packers 34, Lions 10. MVP, Aaron Jones. It's going to be a lackluster affair for Lions fans. We're all going to have paper bags on our heads in Ford Field.
Don't say that. Come on, have some pride.
There's going to be sell the team banners going on everywhere. Half off drinks. Everybody get drunk. It's Lions season. Let's enjoy this. It's over, guys. It's over. Woo.
I'm gonna go ahead and I was gonna try and be respectful, but you went ahead and said 10. So you went ahead like, okay, like you just basically took you.
Galladay is gonna have a 80-yard, 1 touchdown game. The rest of our offense is gonna sputter, just like it has the last 3 weeks.
I'm gonna disagree with you there. I think he gets a big catch, but I don't think it's a touchdown.
I was just saying those 10 points, the touchdown got to come from somewhere. So I was just giving it to Galladay out of respect because he got snubbed in the Pro Bowl.
Hey, I don't want to hear about anything about Pro Bowl snubs. Aaron Jones, Zadarius Smith.
Y'all did have
Brian Bulaga.
Y'all did have some Packers. Matter of fact, Zadarius Smith, before I get off, Zadarius Smith looked like Lawrence Taylor on Monday night. Like, he was dominant.
That's a hell of a name comparison.
Dominant. No, he was dominant. It was crazy to see.
Yeah, I know. And we were watching it, and it was like, what is going on with this dude? And we were talking to Ben about it, and I was talking about one particular one that just made me just giddy as hell. He was on the edge against a left tackle, and he comes out with a speed rush, and he fights his hands free, and then literally just takes his right hand and slaps the tackle on the right shoulder and stops him dead, and then just runs by.
You know what that is?
I mean, that is just power, man.
No, you know what that is? That's like a thank you message to Reggie White hump move. That's what it is. Reggie White's hump move. That's what he used to do.
I'm gonna go back and
Reggie would pick up the guy and throw him. He literally just stopped the guy from taking his drop steps. Yeah, like he couldn't. He just stopped him. Well, like the dude went to take a step, he slapped his shoulder, and he stopped him dead and just ran by. He didn't need to do anything else because the tackle's feet had stopped. He just went motionless. I mean, that's wow.
That's the reason he was called the Deacon, because he was feared and respected.
Yep.
More than any defensive player in the NFL history, actually.
Drew Bledsoe still has nightmares from the Super Bowl.
Yes. So, given that,
whoa! I didn't give my prediction.
Well,
I'm going to call 35-16 Packers. I think that they get it within like 35-9 or something like that. And next thing you know, they pull out the backups within like mid-fourth quarter, and the Lions end up getting a touchdown. I think Bo Scarborough gets it. Knowing that Packers basically they would have the bye locked up with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. But yeah, the MVP of the game, I am putting it on not offense. I am going with Mr. Kevin King, 2 interceptions.
Ooh, Kevin King.
I am going to go quickly and simply. I'm going to say 38-12 with 4 field goals coming from your end. I think if they can hold the Vikings to 10 points, I think they can hold this team without a touchdown. So, as far as MVPs, I think at this point I'd be absolutely asinine to think that it's anybody else than Zadarius Smith after what I've seen the last couple of weeks.
Zadarius Smith might very well turn Taylor Decker into a paper.
Well, I just saw Rick Wagner on the injury report, brother, and
it's all bad, bro. Go ahead and rush the right side all day.
Okay. Oh boy! All right, Julius, give us your quick final word, and we'll get the heck out of here.
Thanks for having me on. Love you guys. I'm going to say this one time. I'm never going to say it again, and I'm going to wish what I wish. But good luck the rest of the season with your team.
Wow.
That's it. Hey, that's it.
Jay, I've never gotten that.
That's it for that. Now, I'm going to say I have
that's historical. You know that's recorded, too.
I'm a regular Lions contributor now on Final Point Podcast every Thursday. You can catch me on there. Catch me on Twitter at the Fifth Top anytime. I'm on Twitter all day, every day. It's great being on, guys. Thanks.
We got one more NFC North roundtable to go too for fourth quarter after Week 17 ends.
I'll be here.
Hey, whatever happened? Are you still going overseas or what's going on?
No. My job got switched to stateside, so right now I'm based out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, for the foreseeable future.
Ooh, that's so you go from the hot dryness to the tropical weather of North Carolina.
There is no tropical weather in North Carolina. And if someone would
I was trying to be nice, okay?
Friend.
Yeah, but I've been in Texas with my family for the holidays. I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy holidays, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, happy holidays to you too, sir.
Yep.
We appreciate you coming on, bud. We always do. It's fun, and you always say something that surprises the shit out of me.
I've never gotten a good luck for the Packers, ever.
Hey, and that's the last time you're going to hear anything like that for the rest of this season.
My life. It'll be my life.
Dave might be able to just go home and go out of the den and pass away now because you finally gave him his go pack go he was looking for.
I did not give him no such words.
I want to hear.
No such words came out of my mouth. I said good luck to your team.
Go ahead and say it. Meow, one pride.
It's better than skull or no. Bend over and bear down.
At least you and the Bears have their own saying. The Vikings stole theirs from the Icelandic soccer team in 2016.
I know. They stole it straight from them, and their fans. They go ahead and do it in the stands like zombies.
I'm like they're just clapping their hands, and I'm like, what do they do? Like, there's
no
they
in college
whatsoever.
Oh God,
are the Vikings at the University of Minnesota?
What?
No, they're not.
It's like a college fan base. They're like doing little chants.
They kind of are. Okay, I'll give you that.
With their hands.
Right, we gotta get the hell out of here.
Not diving in that rabbit hole.
We're not getting in these rabbit holes. We got to get out of here. We appreciate you, Julius, and we thank everybody for listening.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Catch you later.
We'll catch you on the round table after next Wednesday.
Of course.
Count me on.
All right, bud. We'll talk to you then.
You have a good one, brother.
Yep, you too. Bye.
All right.
All right. Did you forget that gift for a special someone, or are you just looking to save lots of cash on sportswear for game day? Then you want to visit fanatics.com using the link thebearsbrawl.com/fanatics. Right now, get up to 70% off site-wide and free shipping on orders over $25 in the U.S. by using the promo code 24SHIP. It's the best place to get all your sportswear needs for you and your loved ones. They've got everything you need: NCAA, NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and even MLS. So put down that bag of chips, pick up that phone, and visit thebearsbrawl.com/fanatics. Enter the promo code 24SHIP for up to 70% off site-wide today. And always, we appreciate everybody. We're getting out of here for the night. Dave, you got any final thoughts as we're getting out?
Well, I think
he's chewing, folks.
Nope. I think the Packers are going to come out fired up as just we saw them against the Vikings as the Lions this week. I really think we're going to see that same type of, not in a bad way, but hostility from the defense. Just that tenacity that we saw last week in the past couple weeks. So there's one quote I want to put out. Mike Pettin said, there's one huge change that has taken over this defense for the past 4 weeks. We had a sit down. And one of the big thing is communication. And he said ever since then, the communication has been one of the top levels of communication on defense I've ever seen. And he said, we've been giving and gifting plays of big plays throughout before these past 4 weeks have happened. That right there shows me he's taken the initiative to take care of what's been wrong, and he's fixed it. That's what it is to me. I think you're going to see the same level of defense throughout this all the way to the playoffs.
I think they finally got healthy. I think they finally found the personnel that they like, and I think that's been the big difference. And I think they finally decided that Zadarius Smith can be the guy that they don't need to just line up in one spot, and he can be that guy that's really we said it was Kenny Clark, but it's clearly Kenny Clark is a huge piece. Don't get me wrong. But I think what's made this defense hit its stride, particularly over the last 3 weeks, is making Zadarius Smith the focal point of what's going on.
That's what I mentioned earlier. He's unplannable. He can't be planned for.
Yeah, and then that takes the pressure off of a young Kenny Clark, even though essentially he's only a year younger than Zadarius Smith. It takes a little bit of that pressure off of him, and he has been a monster. So, and offensively, look, it doesn't have to look pretty, but they are going to run the rock, and they're going to execute really good play action. We've seen it for the last couple of weeks. The difference here is they start connecting on those balls because Rodgers has been accurate with his passes on those. It's not like he's been the reason they're not. Those receivers start catching those balls, tracking them right in the air. I'm telling you right now, they're going to score 30 points plus a game going forward. That's the only difference here in this offense being explosive and highly productive to being in these close games that everybody says they're winning ugly. That is what it is. And Ben came on and basically affirmed everything we've said about not only Aaron Rodgers and how we feel about him, how I feel about him. He was as hard on Aaron as I am.
Yeah.
No excuses. No, it's not 22, 25, 28-year-old Aaron. It's time to let the system and trust it. And so that was
down the middle,
here.
realist analyst. He's not this homer. Yeah, he likes to be optimistic, but as an analyst, he's 50-50 down the middle.
Oh, God, he's so smart. And we're already talking about getting him on again. He's the more we can get on him, the more we're going to learn, too. I learned a lot just in – he said some of the same stuff, but the way he presented it even added to my thought process more. And that's –
yeah.
Look, the more you can learn in what we're doing and the more angles, even if it's the same take, he gave the same kind of take, but there was 4 or 5 things in there that I hadn't even said or thought of that just bears down on what I was already learning. It takes it in. So those types of things are kind of priceless to me anyway. Well, we appreciate you guys coming on. We're going to get the hell out of here.
One more thing.
Don't forget to go ahead.
Don't be surprised if you see Rashawn Gary get a ton of snaps if we get ahead in the score.
Yeah, that's another thing we could rabbit hole in, but we'll save that for the post-game show.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to bring it up.
All right, folks, now we're going to get the hell out of here. You want to remember, follow us on the Twitter at TitleTown Brawl, myself at UPJ33, Dave at Steak and Cheese, and follow our bosses in the company we work for. The Brawl Network is at Network Brawl. Find them on Facebook. Follow, like, and share them. It's the Brawl Network on Facebook. Follow all the teams. If you've got a team, look them up with the team name and Brawl, and you should be able to find them if they've got them covered. If not, wait, they are coming. The Brawl Network is here to stay, and we are going to take over the sports world one team at a time, one podcast at a time, as a unit. We are now 40-plus strong as our addition and some others. This is an awesome thing, and we love them all for us.
Brawling.
We are brawling. Have a lot of fun tonight, folks, and we will get back with you on the post-game show right after the Packers-Lions game on Sunday afternoon. Go, Pack, go!
Go, Pack, go. Go, Pack, go.